Welcome to episode 3 of my Zero to Hero series, where I, Saluun, go from 0 to 3k as Devastation.
Good morning, World of Warcraft. I'm Ben Over with breaking news. We have spotted a strange creature in a school for dragons. A Retribution Paladin, whose natural habitat is in melee range, was enraged instead, which is highly unusual and disturbing in a +10 environment. A pair of Death Knights, who had warm feelings for each other, made a healer not wanting to communicate any further in a dungeon. A group of champions abandoned a dungeon after a Retribution Paladin decided to become protection, and it went horribly wrong. We'll have more news at 7. Thank you for tuning into Good Morning Warcraft. My name is Ben Over, and wish you goodbye.
I wonder what my first mythic item is. Of course, it's a weapon. It literally couldn't be anything else but the most useless item imaginable in the mythic slot. The Amber Wing Feather is pretty good though, despite it being only heroic, so that's what I took. I started the week with the Time Walking Weekly, where we defeat the Loot Pinata Ragnaros, so I can get a ring that's not great for me. But hey, at least it only took less than 5 minutes. This week, time was not on my side, therefore I felt a lot of pressure to get all 10s timed. This Academy +10 that I forgot to record almost tilted the living hell out of me. It was my key and I've set it to competitive, and this Prot Warrior and Ret Paladin came as a duo. Both had 265 plus item level and about 2.6k IO rating. I noticed the Paladin's damage rather low, but I thought maybe he's in raid talents or something. I wasn't paying much attention at first, until I saw this.
What the hell are you doing?
I would normally find this funny and I would have laughed if it wasn't my key, but the fact that I had very limited time to play and that it was my key, I had to gather all the composure in the world not to say anything toxic or just anything at all. This person has 2.6k rating, by the way, and not boosted. I'm not sure if they were intentionally throwing or someone letting their young child play, but I was so upset seeing this in my key. Obviously, we did not time it, so into the 9 I go. Here, the monk tank and the healer was only willing to join on the condition that I trade the heart trinket, which I actually had in my bag already, because it's not good for me. But apparently I may have been able to not trade it after all, and you'll see soon why. Speaking of trinkets, I made a spectacular mistake with the Crucible of Erratic Energies. I've read that apparently, despite it capping out on champion, this trinket is still very good if you have all protocols unlocked. I noticed I was only 1 away, so I did the AFK simulator event and some world quest, but apparently I can't read, so instead of the 3 protocols, I unlocked the mount.
What are you?
An idiot sandwich.
We timed the 9 easily. The trinket didn't drop, but I was still super tilted from earlier, so I decided to join other people's keys. To my biggest surprise, I got into a +10 Magister's Terrace relatively quickly, where we are greeted with this message.
I'm gay.
This dungeon was such a shit show. The blood DK couldn't stay alive, so he goes down, and so do I. Then in the library we split up so we had even more deaths. Before the first boss, the healer calls out the druid for low DPS. But this is the same person who dies on the third boss by going into the dome too early, dying again and again, and one more time on the last boss for good measure. But before the first boss, they had a lovely chat.
I swear to God, you are going to have nightmares about me after we are done here, DK.
Which DK?
Both of you toxic fucks.
I'm not toxic.
Let's get the fuck out of here. Chat disabled now.
You literally called the druid shit. You inbred.
I'm not sure how, but despite all toxicity and deaths, we still managed to time the dungeon. Up next was Magister Caverns, which we sadly missed out on because the tank went flying. The warlock had so much time to combat Terrace and it never came, which was incredibly frustrating because the boss was on 18%. We just needed a tank alive. Seeing 2 runs fail due to combat res person being asleep behind the wheel, I bought some emergency soulings from the auction house, which are the new jumper cables, to take matters into my own hands in the future. I decided to call it there for the day because I could feel myself becoming increasingly more annoyed, so I needed a reset. The next day started out much better. Easily timed Seed plus 10 and Pit of Saron as well. This one was even deathless and a +2. Then it was time to head back to Academy. I had extremely high hopes for this group because we played the first pool so well, although the mage's DPS was a bit sus on such a big pool. The first boss went very well too. Finally everyone knew what to do here. Stack, kill ads, kick medium tree, stand in green circle, repeat, and job well done. But then we had issues on the second boss. I swear so many people have no idea that if you do the blue side, you get these wind balls with blue arrows that make you stop sliding and gives you a big haste buff. This boss is a DPS check, so everyone should pick this up, but I actively watch our DPS and not even budge. Unfortunately, as the boss hits 14%, all hell breaks loose and the healer dies. This was my moment to shine, to combat Terrace, but I was so extremely clumsy, I had to ping the guy to see where he died, then I tried to res him but I got blown too far by the wind, so we eventually bleed out. The vote to disband came up where I pressed yes, because I couldn't see us time this anymore, but we continued. Needless to say, this was a wasted effort. So I went back to another round and
I like it cut, G.
Oh shit, here we go again.
thankfully this time at least we weren't lacking damage, so even though we wiped a lot, we could still time it somehow. The other tough pill dungeon to swallow was Magister Caverns, where we broke the record of the fastest disband in the series so far. This guy declined good tanks, and after 15 minutes he swapped to Prot and Leroyed his way into the berserkers who made quick work of him, and then we just kept chain dying. It seems though the third time's the charm, as I got it on the third try finally alongside with Keystone Hero. In case you didn't know, Keystone Hero avoids the mythic shoulder effects for all tier set difficulty levels, which I think is a cool feature. I had 2 more 10s left to do, and one of them was Windrunner's Spire. I'd say damage wise I did pretty well in this key, but I did some really dumb plays that got me killed. But we still 2-chested the key and I looted the heart. Now, I was really confused here because I already had it on hero track in my bags, and the Ember Wing Feather I have equipped is 6 out of 6, but yet I couldn't trade it. Is it because the one I have in my bag was only 2 out of 6? Because in that case, I would not have been able to trade it to the Priest in the 9 either, which would have been upsetty spaghetti for sure, so I'm glad it didn't drop then. The last 10 was Nexus Point, and I left this for last because this is the key I had too. I was very shocked that I was able to pug all 10 keys by myself. That first Agathar gave me such PTSD of doing my own key that I only signed for others, and to my biggest surprise, I got invited pretty quickly for all of them. My gear isn't amazing, I'm on 268. I feel like I can easily dish out more damage on my Warlock and Rogue than Evoker, but those 2 characters really struggle with getting invites. There are so many Bloodlust classes out there. Was it really the difference maker? I couldn't tell. Either way, this Nexus Point is timed as well. I really wanted to fit in a 12 this week as well, but due to lack of time, I couldn't, unfortunately. Overall, I'd say this was a successful week despite everything, but we are not stopping until I reach 3k. So make sure you stay tuned, subscribe if you haven't already, like the video, comment and stuff, otherwise I'll catch you all next time. Thanks for watching, bye bye!